Let us all remember that we are in the holy presence of God, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy
Let me be the change I want to see, to do with strength and wisdom all that needs to be done, and become the hope that I can be. Set me free from my fears and hesitation. Let the courage that lives me fill me with spirit to face the challenge. Restore the change I long to see. Today I start the change I want to see. Even if I'm not the light, I can be the spark. In faith, service, and communion, let us start the change we want to see. The change that begins in me. Today I start the change I want to see. Even if I'm not the light, I can be the spark. Service and communion. Let us start the change we want to see. The change that begins in me. Jesus in us. Jesus in
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Mayang magiliw, pero sa silangan, alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang inirang, tuwid na ng magiging, sa manlulupi, ikaw masisi. Sa lahat ng mundong sasibay at sa langit mamahal, manilagang tulan, awit sa panayang minamahal. Ang isap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagdidili. Ang bituin ng araw niya kailan pa may magdidilim. Lupa ng araw-araw, ating pagsinta, buhay langit sa Pinoy. Aming ligaya ng may mga ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Good afternoon, film enthusiasts, film students, and participants. Today we will be having an educational and informative discussion on exposing the beauty of cinema and how one should watch films. Roots and reflections on films would be uncovered in this session. For us to have an interactive discussion, may we request everyone to please turn on your cameras for us to see each other's faces and get to know each other virtually. And so, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I am Perlene Barrientos, your host for today, and I welcome you all to Film Appreciation Talk Paano ba manood ng pelikula? A pleasant afternoon to everyone. Are you all ready to learn and discuss the beauty of cinema? But before we go deep into today's discussion, let us first hear a message from Cine Animo's founding festival director, Dr. Filimon Bonita Blanco.
ANIA LaSalle Harvest of the Arts Festival. Cine Animo 6 is a digital short film festival in northern Mindanao that highlights unique regional stories, local tales, and world truths.
Cine Animo Film Festival started with the idea of providing a platform for the students of the special program in the arts, especially in northwestern Mindanao area. And that was the primary purpose why I organized the festival. Mylene Oriza, who was then the PDO for the Committee on Film, asked me after watching the kids, after watching the Teatro Gindigan perform, Sir Mon, do you want to organize a film festival in your university? And of course, knowing me that I love to help the young artists in the area, then suddenly something that popped into my mind. Say, yes, I would love to get that. And that was the start of it. So when we came back to the country after that Indonesia performance, I started conceptualizing. And that was the first time that I wanted to have a branding, a LaSalle branding. And of course, when you talk about LaSalle, you cannot get away the word animo. And then I was inspired by other films that started with cine, and then you have another term. So then I started to coin the word Cine Animo because I wanted the festival to have its own identity, being a Lasallian festival. So that's why I coined it Cine Animo. And well, at the time before this whole short stint or short visit at the NCCA, I already had something in mind that I wanted to create projects inside the university that would cater to the needs, sort of a supplemental projects, supplemental activities for the students of the special program in the arts in the area. And because of this opportunity to be able to organize Cine Animo, that's when I started conceptualizing it. Now, this Cine Animo is for the students because I know that they are talented young students in the area, but there is no platform for them to showcase. And Cine Animo becomes that platform for students who wants to do film, who wants to do short film, who are have the interest in multimedia. That LaSalle University will provide that platform for the students especially in the northwestern Mindanao area to experiment, to play. I always say that LaSalle University is a creative playground, and we want to offer Cine Animo as a creative playground for these aspiring filmmakers in the area. And that's the second, in its second year, that was the time that I wanted to give up already. We didn't have any funds at all. I didn't have any grant anymore from the NCCA. I don't know where. I don't know where I want to get funds. But then Dr. Chedel Juansenjenko, then the director for Culture and Arts Office, she promised me na, don't worry about the funds. I'll help you, get funds, but worry about how you can manage and get as many film submissions as you can. And Cine Animoto was sort of really like an in-house thing. And it was purely LaSalle University, like through some budgets from other offices, which actually being given as a share to manage the festival. So Cine Animoto was really an in-house thing, that it was really created and made by LaSalle University. From Cine Animo 3, that was the time that we got already our partnership with the Film Development Council of the Philippines, until now. And I think the problem is always how to raise funds. I didn't have any problems in getting film submissions because especially in the third year, for example, we receive a lot of submissions, and because of that, you can really say that uh, there is really a need, to sustain this project, because it has created already a name of its own. With this, I would like to commend the efforts of the LSU ADMST in continuing this worthwhile festival for the benefit of the young filmmakers in the city of Osamis, in the province of Misamis Occidental, in Mindanao, and in the Philippines in general. Congratulations to Cine Animo. Way to go on your 6th edition this year. Thank you and enjoy the festival.
Thank you so much, Sir Mon, for your message and for letting us continue what you have started. And now, as we start with the talk proper, let us get to know our speaker through watching this video.
Tito Genova Valiente is a public anthropologist, film critic, and film educator. He is a member of the Manunuri ng Pelikulang Pilipino, the oldest and most prestigious critiques group in the country, which he chaired. He is a journalist, maintaining 2 weekly columns, one on film and mass media, and another on societies and cultures for Business Mirror. He also writes for a regional newspaper, Bicol Mail, where he has a column on anything regional and peripheral. Valiente has conducted film education workshops for years and has written papers on regional cinema for local and international journals. In the last pre-pandemic Cinema Region, he co-chaired the Yamagata International Film Workshop. He is a recipient of the Gawad Sining ni Balagtas for achievement in English essay given by UMPIL, Union ng mga Manunulat sa Pilipinas. His book, Tales from Ticao, was one of the books selected by the National Book Development to represent the Philippines in book fairs in Frankfurt, Germany, and London. The same book has been translated into Japanese.
Once again, let us give our virtual round of applause to our dear speaker, Mr. Tito Valiente.
Thank you. Thank you, Perlene. Thank you. When I got this invitation from Earl, I was so excited because I said I'd be traveling to your place, only for me to find out it's going to be, I think, one of the last virtual, no, virtual seminars we would be having, and looking forward to more face-to-face engagement in the coming months. Um, Film education is such a tricky thing because you're dealing with an artifact, an object, a thing called cinema, which is not never meant to be used for pedagogy or pagtuturo, no, but rather it was created for entertainment, to make people happy, to make people have fun, for people to have a way of seeing life in a very light manner or mode. But through the years, people saw that cinema could be a wonderful tool for classroom engagement, for teaching people, no, for teaching students how to learn about cultures and societies, about one's country and about one's identity. If you don't mind my saying this, for example, when I was teaching at Ateneo de Manila, the other school for the Lasalistas, um, I developed a course on Japanese cinema. And the reason for that was because I was teaching Japanese culture and society, and my director was saying, instead of teaching them, the usual stereotypical ikebana, the theater, no, the kabuki, the bunraku, the puppet theater, why don't you use our films? Because we had lots of films in the office. Why don't you use them, engage the students so that they would know more about society through cinema? And I found out that it was one entertaining and one compelling way to learn about another country's culture, not through high art, but through the public art of filmmaking, films, movies, and cinema. But before we begin, I'd like to engage you in in a film. By the way, I intentionally chose foreign films for this afternoon because um, my experience in teaching, in using cinema as pedagogy as a tool, is I would use always local films. But I think for a filmmaker to know to develop his or her skill, one ought to see other works, in other cultures. And watching a film that does not belong to Philippine culture always creates a distance. And that distance is necessary for a very good analysis. Pag pelikulang Pilipino, pelikulang Mindanaoan, for example, the tendency for the viewer or even for the critic is to be engaged thoroughly because that is your culture. Now we will try to look at three films that would create a kind of gap between us, the viewer, and the filmmaker. But before that, I'd like to show one of my favorite short films. This won the Gawad Urian for Best Short Film, I think, in 2015, if I'm not mistaken. And the filmmaker is from Luzon, but the cinematographer is from Mindanao, Arby Barbarona. Let me see how smoothly we can transition to this screening. No, I'm not a techie. Okay. Uh, hmm, ah, okay. Sandali. Sandali. No, no. Channel lang. How do I share this? Saan na ba to? Saan ang share niya?
Click niyo po yung share.
Yeah. I'm going back to my Pwede ako mag-sing. Kinig ko lang.
Isis ko, alang-alang sumasaga ng dugo na iyong pinawis ng mga langit at kahalimanan.
Kaawaan mo, patawarin ng kaluluwa ni Bernardo.
Isis ko, alang-alang sa kampal na tinanggap na iyong kagalang-galang na mukha.
Kaawaan mo, patawarin ng kaluluwa ni Bernardo.
Isis ko, alang-alang sumasakit ang hampas na iyong tiniis.
Kaawaan mo, patawarin ng kaluluwa ni Bernardo.
Isis ko, alang-alang sa puro ng tinig na tumingin sa kabanal-banalan ng ulo.
Kaawaan mo, patawarin ng kaluluwa ni Bernardo.
Isis ko, alang-alang sa paglakad mo sa lansangan ng kapaitan na ang puso iyong kinasa.
Kaawaan mo, patawarin ng kaluluwa ni Bernardo.
Isis ko, alang-alang sa kabanal-banalang mukha mo na iliglig sa dugo at iyong binayaang larawan ni Veronica.
Kaawaan mo, patawarin ng kaluluwa ni Bernardo.
Isis ko, alang-alang sa damit na natigmak ng dugo na biglang pinimit at sinasad sa iyong katawan ng mga tampalasan.
Kaawaan mo, patawarin ng kaluluwa ni Bernardo.
Isis ko, alang-alang sa kabanal-banalang mong katawan na napako sa krus.
Kaawaan mo, patawarin ng kaluluwa ni Bernardo.
Isis ko, alang-alang sa iyong kamalmahalang ng paa at kamay na pinaglabot yung mga kapag pinagbalita mo na sa akin.
Kaawaan mo, patawarin ng kaluluwa ni Bernardo.
Kalooban mo siya, Panginoon, ng pagpapahingang walang hanggan.
Magbigay ka sa kanya ng liwanag at ilaw na walang
Nakapagnawakan sa kapayapaan.
Okay. Before I proceed, anybody would like to say something about the film? Any reaction? Any reaction at all? So there are no guide questions, huh? Anybody? Let's put on the spot Perlin. Siya ang nakikita ko. What is the impression? What is the feeling that the images generate? Give me an adjective. Give me a modifier. No.
What's really happening?
Wala.
I'm actually really curious of what's really happening here. I did not really grasp the entire film.
Okay. Fair enough. Anyone else? Anyone else? So parang hindi malinaw ang kwento, no? But you see images, no? And you go back to the images. There's a dead person, and then there's a young boy, and there is a woman in black, and there are women in black on the river shore. No? Then they put the corpse on the raft. And then at a certain point, the little boy fell into the water. No? And I saw Perlin had a quick reaction to that. No? I saw that on screen. Okay, nahulog siya. And the next question is, namatay ba siya? Hindi siya namatay because the next thing is, he was there in the house and he was preparing something, naghahanda siya. Then he left for a particular place, the Wawa, to the river, no? And while there, he was still grieving, no? So you're telling he was grieving at bumaba siya, tumingin siya sa baba. And then the bell rung and he looked up and the birds flew. And the next scene, he was back in the house. Pinapatong niya sa sahig ang itak. Then he fell asleep. And that was the end of it. So what is the film all about? Huh? Come on. We're trying to approximate what would happen in a film education class, no? Huwag matakot. Just say anything, no? Just say anything. Don't think, ay, baka mali ako. No, you'll never learn if you do that, no? Saka don't try to anticipate, itong sasabihin ko. That will make you even more nervous, no? Say what you feel. You don't like, sir, I don't like the film. But you have to tell me why. That is film education. Hindi pwede yung respect my opinion lang. Diba? Show me first the opinion and then I'm going to, okay, sabi ni Liza Marie, is it about a grieving child? Yes, definitely. So if it's about grief, it's only about grief actually, because it's a short film. That's the magic of a short film. A short film does not really tell a long story. Otherwise, you have to make a feature, a full-length feature film. Kaya nga minsan, pag nag-judge kami, and some of the filmmakers are here, if you're making a film, at ang haba-haba, at parang ang dami-dami mong sinasabi, then we would tell you, dapat gumawa ka na lang ng full length. This is not a short film. A short film is short, not because it's short, but because it captures from a flow of life a wonderful, a fascinating, a disturbing scene or a series of scenes. In this case, Panalo ang Wawa, which is about that place. No? It's about grief. Tama kayo. So kung dadagdagan nyo, ano pa about grief? No, before we go into, I'm sure the PowerPoint is all about these things that we're discussing now. Anyone else? You can write and I can respond. I can read them on in the, where do I? Makikita ko si Sisha. Is a exotic name. X, Y, Z. All the rare letters in the alphabet. Okay, sine animo. The constant flow of the river can translate to the intensifying levels of grief. Okay? Oh, yes. We have no time to go back to the film. But you would see that there's a movement sa tubig, no? There's a movement sa tubig. Pag may movement na nakikita sa screen, you call that the rhythm, no? If the filmmaker is able to maintain the rhythm, then whether it's slow, meandering, or majestic, it depends on him. But sometimes a filmmaker is so good or so skillful or so insightful na napagsasama-sama niya ang magkakaibang rhythm, which Wawa was able to do. Nakikita niyo ba yon? Habang ang ilog, pabalik ang flow niya, the camera is moving forward. Hindi niya sinundan ang flow ng life. Nung papunta naman yung bata sa mga bato, the camera was moving so slowly that it appears the stones were moving. So ano yung sinasabi natin sa English pag tinatamaan ka na, antig ka ng isang eksena? I am moved. Nagagalaw ako. And in that scene, literally nagagalaw ang mga bagay-bagay sa paligid, no? So you have this, all the details na nangyayari sa pelikula because it's a short film. At nakikita natin lahat yan, you feel it, no? What about the boy falling off the raft? Ano ibig sabihin nun? Was that a literal falling off? Maybe we don't feel it. Pare-pareho tayo, hindi tayo mga Tagalog, no? But the Tagalog has a term for that. When there's so much grief na ikaw ay, okay? Sabi ni Perlin minsan sa buhay para tayong nalulunod, no? Nakalulunod, sabi ni Liza Marie Berenguel. Nalulunod. Dagdagan nyo pa ng isang bagay, ng isang pang salita. Nalulunod saan? Or even in English. No, we don't have to deal with the Tagalog. Na Gracie Claire, are you Claire? Claire? So does that mean you're going to talk? You raise your hand? Yes.
Drowning in misery.
Yes. You're drowning in misery or nalulunod sa pighati. Sino kaya nag-translate? Baka mga Tagalog na lang ang kumopya, no? Mahilig kasi mag-translate ng mga Tagalog. Tayo we have is there a Bisaya term for that? Do we have in Bicol na drowning in sorrow? Parang wala. Is there a Bisaya? I'm asking the people around actually here also.
Lunod po is Bisaya for drown. Masulog-on is grief.
Do you use that? Is that an idiomatic expression?
Kaya,
Oh yeah, then that's it. That's it. So we can all understand what this cinema is all about. Hindi siya exotic, no? Hindi siya naiiba. When we start to analyze, break apart, and analysis is really breaking apart, no? Synthesis is putting them together, no? Analyzing is breaking apart. Then we start to understand, kapareho lang ito ng aking karanasan. So let's go to the PowerPoint, which I'm sure would bore you at a certain point. Yan. Parang kanta, love story, where do I begin? Saan nagsisimula ang panunood ng pelikula? It begins with you, the audience, and the film na pinapanood. It sounds very obvious, hindi pala pwedeng pag-aralan. But that's exactly how film comes alive. May nanonood. Okay? Kahit isa lang. The film comes alive because you're watching it. If there is no one watching the film, does the film exist? Sabi ni Earl, no, mga Zen, mga kwan yan, ha? Zen koan, kung ano mga kaekla yan ng mga Zen. No? If a leaf falls from a tree and there's no one in the forest to see that, may nahulog bang dahon? So, what is the meaning of this? Awareness, no? There's an awareness when you enter the cinema. Kahit na nakadate ka, nagdi-date ka, no? I'm sure alam mo ito ni Earl. Even if you're dating sa madilim na parte ng balcony, no? You're still aware you are in a cinema. At maybe the cinema disturbs you every now and then, but there's an awareness, no? Now, the second set of items you have to be familiar in terms of film education is you've got to know the director. You've got to know the title. And you've got to know the release date. Bakit? Sa Pilipinas, hindi tayo director-centric. No? And when I was studying abroad, I was always ashamed when I talk about a film because whenever my classmates would talk about a film, they would talk about the director. Yes, artista-centric tayo. While ako, ang sasabihin ko kaagad, artista, I would mention Katharine Hepburn. I would mention Audrey Hepburn. I would mention John Wayne. I would mention Robert Redford. But sino nga ba nag-direct ng The Manchurian Candidate? I don't remember. Who directed Sound of Music, which everyone's favorite? No one remembers, no? Because we're always thinking of the artista. And I'm sure even in case of Filipino films, you are dealing always with artista, no? You talk about Kathniel, no? You talk about Nadine, you talk about James Reed, but never about who directed them. Okay? Why the title? This more has to do with foreign films. Foreign films change title. So when you're dealing, for example, you're doing a review and you're dealing with a title that is wrong, then maybe you're dealing with a different film. I remember this year, I reviewed a film that was an entry to the Tokyo International Film Festival because that was my commitment. Although online ang TIFF, I've always attended it, so I had to fulfill that thing to review their films. And then ano ba yung pelikulang yun? And I write for Business Mirror, and buti na lang I checked the online copy of my column. Usually, for example, if my deadline is a Tuesday, it comes out on a Friday. But Thursday evening, andun na online ang aking article. Paglabas ng review, the photo accompanying the review was the wrong film because there is an earlier film with a similar title made by a Spanish director. So I had to scamper and tell my editor that this is going to be tragic the next day. No? Because TIFF is going to look at the review at ibang illustration. Okay? And by the way, I'm sure most of you like Japanese films. Japanese films are difficult to understand in terms of title because binabago nila ang titulo ng lahat na pelikula, European, American. So when you're dealing with a title, you won't know whether that is the same movie you've seen. No? Now, what about the release date? The historical background of the film is very important. The historical antecedent is very, very important. Kailan ito ginawa? Remake ba ito? Okay? Are you watching a remake? That makes a lot of sense. And if you are a film historian or a, sabi ni Perlin kanina, film enthusiast, you should know each particular film. Okay? You're able to separate one film from the other. One example na lang, yung Kenshin. Ang dami-dami niya. At iba-ibang release dates. So paano maintindihan ang prequel and sequel when it matters a lot in the understanding of that particular cinema? Then we look into the third item is story, screenplay, and source. When we're watching, balik tayo naman sa artista-centric, no? We don't bother to check who wrote the story. Okay? That it's the same person who made the same dumb film a month ago. That's why you're looking at another dumb movie, no? Or why is it that you don't like it? Because you didn't like the previous screenplay. And source is important. Is it an adapted screenplay? In other words, may pinagmulan ba siya? Rent, for example, no? Is a Broadway play. But more than that, if you are really a film enthusiast, you know very well that the Broadway play is based on an opera by Puccini, which is entitled, anyone knows? La Boheme. So pahabaan ng pahaba ang kwento, ang pag-unawa sa pelikula. Godfather, for example, no? It's important to understand the source of the Godfather as a movie. Why? Because when you're reading the novel, nabago ang pelikula. For example, the mother in the novel is a very strong figure, but totally disappears in the film. I'm not saying that the book and the film version could be compared. You do not compare them because the two are different elements. So it's always wrong to say the book is better than the film is better than the book. That's not valid, no? Iba ang literature from cinema. That's very clear dapat, no? Hindi pwedeng may mas mataas ang isa. Okay, next please. You can interrupt me as I proceed. Okay. We talked about cinema, no? It having a history, may pinagmulan ang cinema. Hindi siya came out of the blue. Kaya nga palagi kong sinasabi na when you're trying to push for the Filipino-ness, ang editor ko ayaw ng salitang ito. Sabi niya, tingnan mo, pumupula siya sa computer. Why do you insist on using that? Because I like it, no? The Filipino-ness of a cinema. It's difficult and it's a struggle. But it doesn't mean hindi pwede maging Pinoy ang cinema. Because in terms of history, talagang from the beginning, cinema is international. The technology came from a particular world, no? From a particular site. It follows a tradition and it builds on those tradition. Okay? And if you look at that, cinema is a coherent, nagkakaisa. So you go back to Wawa, no? It is a way of looking at grief. Now you see the analysis. It is a manner of presentation of grieving in that it makes use of images, very quiet, natural images. You can always show grief in a different way. On television, we always see people dying. Yung sabi nila, miyembro ng NPA, pinapatay at nakatayo sa harapan ng bangkay ang nanay ng patay, no? And the nanay is not crying. And the nanay is just looking at the camera. And the camera is not moving at all because the network wants tears because they're expecting that the mother would cry. But this mother has been toughened by the situation, and therefore she is not crying. And that is a manner of presentation also. Okay? That is a way of looking. And you put that in a short film, then you have a coherent body of work, and that is cinema. Next, please. Okay. Ano bang hinahanap natin sa pelikula? Okay? For the film students, how many film students are here? May I see, ano ba? Meron bang major sa ano sa filmmaking sa Lasal? Meron, di ba? Binildas.
Wala po direct. Ay, wala po,
Wala.
sir, dito.
So ano lang,
Multimedia, tapos mga...
multimedia. Pero pwede na rin. Pwede na rin. Pwede na. Because you study also production, no? How movies are made is very, very important, no? Tinitingnan ang paggawa. Tinitingnan ang mga facilities, tinitingnan ang gamit, no? Makikita nyo sa ating competition, unang perception kaagad, there are different films being judged, to be judged, no? Merong action, live action, merong live action na may animation, merong pure animation, merong documentary. Are you able to distinguish them? Because they are products of a particular way of producing, no? You know, when we talk about production also, you have to think also of tradition. Bakit ibang-iba? Bakit may dating ang gawa ng Star Cinema? Bakit pag gumagawa ng romance ang Tagalasal, pag pinagtabi mo sa ginawa ng Star Cinema, bakit naiiba? Because it's a production, it's a tradition. Okay? Then we go into movies as art. Iba na naman yun, no? Because when you look at movies as production, ito palagi pinag-uusapan. Bakit walang nanonood masyado ng ating mga independent cinema? Because we belong to a different mode of production. Ang mode of production ng commercial cinema, iba. Nagsisimula pa lang ang shooting, alam mo na ang mangyayari, no? Alam mo na may mga intrigues na. Magpa-partner ba uli si Lisa Soberano at si Enrique Hill, no? And then, for example, nakita si Sian Lim with Barbie Imperial. Aha. Ang tanong kaagad nila, are they seeing each other? Akala ko ba si Kim Chu ang girlfriend ni Sian? Baka may pelikula silang gagawin. So there is a news that accompanies the pre-production. And you get interested not about the film, okay, but about the things outside the film, the extra cinematic. Now, Perlin, do you act in a film? Have you acted in a film? Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Si Earl, have you acted, Earl, in a film?
Yes po, direct.
Nagkaparis na ba kayo ni Perlin?
No.
Hindi pa. Who's older, if you don't mind my asking?
I think I am.
Okay. You're graduating. Si Perlin, hindi pa, di ba? And definitely in the university, mukhang force na si Earl, no? He's a force. Tama ba, Perlin? Do you agree with that? Tama ba ang aking reading ng ano? Tapos pinagparis kayo. Then people talk about it. Magtatanong si Sisha, sino pumili kay Perlin? So people talk about it. Do you do that when you make an indie film in Mina? We don't do that, no? We don't create intrigue, no? For example, sabihin ni Sisha, hindi naman magaling si Perlin eh. Kaya lang madalas mag-date yan sa si Earl. Kaya pinili. Sino ang direktor? Yung teacher na paborito si Earl. So you don't do that, no? We forget. But in the production aspect of a mainstream cinema, natural yan. The dirt, the drag, all the rumors. Nag-ano yan, the more exciting they are, the dirtier they are, the more exciting we become. Mga still shots, nagubad si ganyan, papakita yan. Then nagubad, magtatanong tayo, may frontal ba? Hindi sasagot ang PR. Manood na lang po kayo. So everybody flocks to the movie. So important ang production. Importante rin ang Hollywood, no? Kung Hollywood yan, Hollywood is even greater in that aspect. They would spend so much in the pre-production. Okay? They would release books, they would release kung ano-ano. The Japanese are very good also when they're producing anime. Lalabas sila ng mga products. So you're not just admiring Totoro. You have to get the mug na may Totoro, no? Dapat meron ako nun, sir. Dapat meron ako nun. So you're enjoying the anime and you're enjoying also the products around it. Dapat may dal ako ng ganito. Dapat meron akong figure ni Kenshin before I could really appreciate all the films, no? So that's production. Now, when we go to art, papasok na ang mas masalimuot. Many complex things about cinema as art, no? If you are into humanities, may lumang pananaw. So yung I don't know if you studied this, mga line, mga texture. Did you study that? Yung pinag-aralan niyo yung Renaissance paintings, yung may triangle palagi. Titingnan niyo ang Madonna, for example, that the Madonna always with a child forms a triangle. Why a triangle? Because a triangle is the perfect form. So my philosophy behind it. Okay, so that's the movie as art. You're looking at aesthetics. Okay? You're not interested in production. You're not even interested in the actors. You're interested in how they are presented. The coloration, the texture, the lines, pinag-aralan. The way for example, when there was a competition, I defended very much Wawa. So I went to the board, which is not really done always, and I started to draw the rhythm of the film. Sabi ko, tingnan nyo ito, look at this. This is how good the film is. I'm dealing with Wawa, not as a film anymore, but as an art, more like a painting, a series of paintings, a series of images. Okay? Now, my interest in film is on the third. No, marketing is part of that, because it's part of culture. How do we sell a film? That's very cultural. Paano ang pagbebenta? So kasama siya masyado medyo ng production. But more than that, I'm interested in what do we know in the film? What do we learn about ourselves? About being Filipino, about being regional? What the sociology and anthropology of cinema? What does it tell about persons? What does it say about women? Paborito ko itong tanong sa aking Japanese cinema. I would let them watch a film and I would ask the question, what is the notion of a person in this film? Paano magsalarawan ang mga Hapones ng tungkol sa babae, tungkol sa lalaki, tungkol sa bata? I'll give a very clear example, which I think happened also in Mindanao when everybody is aware of the anime Grave of the Fireflies. Grave of the Fireflies. Hotaro no Haka. Now, it's an animation about a two siblings. Alam ni Saidi? Saidi ba? Tama ba yun? Mabilis mawala. Yeah, times of World War. And then, they started very happy. But habang tumatagal ang giyera, they started to suffer. Okay? Then, in the end, um, namatay yung bata, yung sister, no? You- You'll end up crying when you're watching an anime, no? When we brought that to Davao, I think, yeah, and I was with Professor Dina Roma of Lasal. We were together under the Japan Foundation series of cinema. Sa Manila, walang problema, no? But when we went to Davao, one old man said, "Why are you showing us this film which favors the Japanese?" Kasi pinapakita doon ang suffering ng mga bata. But that's not exactly what the film is all about. Kaya lang, yung kultura can paint, can create a cinema. It can depict a person, it can depict a child. No, another example would be Kurosawa's. I hope you don't mind if I use this Japanese examples. Um, the Dreams. Anybody has seen Dreams? You may. It's a series of dreams by Kurosawa. And yeah, Kurosawa Akira. It's good to point that out. Thank you, Earl, for saying that because there, no, I don't know. Para sa inyo kasi hindi na masyadong kilala si Kurosawa Akira because mas kilala nyo na si Kurosawa Kiyoshi. I hope. Kurosawa Kiyoshi is a filmmaker noted for very violent and gross cinema. Try looking for his films and you'd understand what I'm saying. No? So magkaibang Kurosawa yun. Ha? Anyway, in the first dream, it's a story about a little boy na lumabas ng bahay because lumabas siya but it's raining pero the sun was shining at sabi ng nanay niya, huwag kang lalabas because kung lalabas ka, makikita mo ang mga foxes, they're getting married when there is sunshine and when there's rain. So the title of that dream part is Sunshine Through the Rain, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, matigas ang ulo ng bata, very curious, he went out into the woods and he saw the wedding of the foxes. While he was watching them through the trees, lumingon ang isang fox at nakita siya. So the next scene, he goes home to the house, he goes home to his mother, at sarado na ang gate ng bahay nila. Kumakatok siya, it's a huge gate to make the little boy even look smaller, no? Paglabas ng nanay, sabi ng nanay, "Oh, anong sinabi ko sa'yo? Nagalit ang mga foxes because you saw them while they were having the wedding." Tapos sabi ng nanay, "Eto, may iniwan sa akin ng mga foxes. It was a knife." So sabi ng bata, "What should I do with a knife?" Sabi ng mga foxes, through the nanay, "Kill yourself. Kill yourself." So the next scene, sabi naman ng bata, uh, "Can I do something about it?" Sabi ng nanay, "Usually the foxes do not forgive. But if you want to try, you can go to the end of the rainbow and there you will find the foxes. Tell them you're sorry." So the little boy walks until he reaches the end of the rainbow. Punong-puno ng bulaklak. That's actually the poster of the film. Then the dream ends. Nung pinakita namin yan sa Manila, sabi ng mga tao, napakasama naman ng nanay na yan. Kung ako ang nanay, pakikipaglaban ko ang anak ko. Ba't ko siya pababayaan? And ba't mo sasabihin sa anak mong kill yourself? So that's my favorite question also. What is the notion of the child and the mother in Japanese culture by watching Kurosawa Akira's dreams? So it means that you have to be responsible for yourself. Are you watching this Netflix series old enough na pinababayaan lang ang mga maliliit na bata to walk? May dala lang silang flag to cross the highway at bumili ng bag. Can we do that to a 3-4-year-old son, nephew, grandniece? No, we don't do that. But the Japanese would allow that independence of the kid. That's why may tinatawag sa kanilang kagi ko. Kagi is key, ko is child. They're given the key because they will open the apartment by themselves. Wala silang lola, walang lolo. Ang nanay nagtatrabaho, ang tatay nagtatrabaho. All by themselves, they will cook. And that's why they discovered and invented the instant ramen. Because it's for the little child who can cook for himself his food. So hindi pwede yung sa atin, may yaya na magluluto, etc. etc. Ideological aspect to cinema. So if we use that, that's exciting, no? Ano ang notion ng babae sa pelikulang Pilipino? Palaging talo. Okay? That's why I beg of you not to keep watching these TV programs, no? Na nagsasampalan ng mga babae over men. Okay? That's how we portray them. And that's how you begin to perceive yourselves. Na sabihin nyo, ay, iba pakipaglaban ko po ang lalaki ko. You know, that kind of thing. Do you notice what happens during the sampalan moment? Minsan nanonood ang lalaki at parang pagod na pagod siya. Sometimes he would even leave the scene and say, bahala kayong dalawa. Okay? That is how we portray women. So however strong the feminism is in the country, our movies subvert that. Tinatalo yan, no? I'm watching a lot of these things online about our young girls na binibihisa na parang mga beauty queens na naglalakad na parang Catriona Gray. And I tell myself, no wonder we are the pedophiles' paradise in Asia because we have sexualized our young girls and young boys, no? Yung mga contest natin na mga little whatever na pinapagwapo mo yung maliliit na bata. Why do we have that? That is also part of cinema. Okay? That is the sociology and anthropology of our cinema. Our notion of reality. Ang mga taga Manila are fond of portraying the farmers as talo. They can never think of the farmer as a winner because they are not in contact with farms. When they talk about, for example, inequality of gender, sasabihin ko sa kanila, that's only true in the urban area. If you go to the rural area, equal ang lalaki at babae. Both of them till the field. Nagtatrabaho sa bukirin, no? Hindi nila nakakita yan. So, or they would do a reverse snobbery. Okay? They would paint the bukirin, the farm, as pretty and lovely. The rivers are clean. The carabaos are clean. The women smell good. They don't. It's a farm because they're working. This is the Amor Solo complex, no? Kaya Amor Solo ang ating mga farm are just lovely little pieces of paradise. Parang, I have to be careful about this. May isang religion na who's fond of portraying this paradise view of the world na magkatabi ang baka saka ang leon na nakaupo at may rainbow sa likod at ang lahat ang itim, ang yellow, ang puti, they're all just talking to each other happy. That comes out in cinema. Okay? Our biases, our prejudices, our bigotry, no? That's why ang regional cinema is a cure to that, no? Ang regional cinema in my book is more honest and in your face in depicting reality. Next, please. Okay. There is the Hollywood formula. Sa Hollywood formula, i-compare ko na ito sa regional cinema. Sa regional cinema, you can have one character. Tapusin mo ang kwento. Pwede yan. Pero ang tanong mo na naman, production question, who would watch a film na isa lang character? So sa Hollywood, dapat there are one or more major characters. Tapos palagi may conflict. Tapos ang conflict is dramatized. Pinapaiting, no? Ina-articulate. May susunod na tension. Habulan until finally, speed, for example, tagal ng habulan until mapatay ang traidor. And if the chase is so long, dapat yung death ng traidor is even more violent. So, tinamaan siya, nahulog siya, naputol ang ulo. Dapat kung naputol ang ulo, pati paa maputol, no? That kind of gross exaggeration, no? Then resolution is generated. In regional cinema, you can remove all that. Sometimes walang conflict. Ano bang conflict sa wawa? It is just a meandering action. May tension ba? Barely, no? Wala, nakatago. Subliminal, nasa ilalim. At walang catharsis. Do you still remember your humanities class? Catharsis is yung purgation, no? Dapat maiyak ka para ma-release ang tension. Sa wawa, walang release. You're just looking at it and sabi nga ni Perlin, I don't know what's happening here, no? So it's there, grilling you, iniipit ka. Walang climax. Walang sumabog sa ilog. Okay? Walang resolution. Open-ended, no? The lamp is turned off, natulog, the screen darkens, and the credits roll up. That's your kind of film. That's my kind of film. In a broader context, that's what Japanese cinema is all about. Lahat nasa ilalim itong conflict, etc., tension, etc. Pero sa Hollywood, clarified yan. Sa mainstream pelikula natin, clarified yan. Clarified na sa labas yan. Next, please. Yan. Codified yan. Anong ibig sabihin ng codified? Parang nasa DNA ng pelikula. Dapat pag may nanonood ka ng pelikula from Hollywood, you should have a hero on which you can latch on your dream, your desires, your plan. Dapat meron kang James Bond, no? Sa screen. At si James Bond dapat panalo, no? Okay, dapat may strong man ka. Dapat may pretty woman ka on screen na nananalo towards the end. Dapat may Julia Roberts ka na nakikita, no? You identify yourself. You root for it, no? Naalala niyo pang Pretty Woman? It's quite, but it's coming back. It's about a prostitute na nagkagusto sa mayaman, Richard Gere, at binihisan siya, and because it's Julia Roberts, alam mo naman si Julia Roberts, hirap gawing cheap, no? Kaya konting tanggal ng lipstick, she's already a classy lady. Yan ang nangyari. Paglabas niya sa isang store, sa isang boutique, paglabas niya, she looks like a model from Vogue, and we all clap our hands. Now, we root for her. Next, please. Okay. Are you following the narrative structure when you're watching a film? Do we even care about it? Paano ba nagagawa ang kwento? Alin ang nauuna? Alin ang let me give you my bias, no? Not necessarily, no? Let me give you my bias. When I'm judging I judge a contest before in Luzon na lahat na short film nagsimula sa kwarto, no? Either the character wakes up, the character faces the mirror, the character dresses up, goes down, walks the street, and papasok ang voice over. Parang hindi masimulan ang action na nasa gitna na siya, na binabaril na siya ng traidor, no? Parang hindi natin maisip yun. Dapat gigising muna ako, mag-aayos ng mukha, magbibihis. Ang tagal niyan, pilang minutes na yun for a short film, that's nothing, no? So if you have a judge that is so impatient, he will say, next please, which I do a lot. Tapos na, wala namang sinasabi. Kung 10-minute ang film, 3 minutes, wala pang sinasabi, why watch it? Okay? So, we have to be conscious of the narrative structure. Okay? Next, please. We'll articulate more on this. Yan. May tinatawag na in medias res, in the middle of the action. Have you tried that? You have a story, and you don't think of what happened last year or yesterday. You're actually starting in the middle of what happened. Okay? So namatay siya kahapon, then you start with what? You can start with him still alive. Why not? Hindi pwedeng magkakasakit, no? Pupunta mga kamag-anak, iiyak, mamamatay, papakitang swero. Sunod na eksena bahay, may ilaw, may burol. Next scene, binababa ang kabaong, pinapasok, pati ang camera pumasok sa nicho. It has been done 1,000 times, no? Sinara. Tapos next, para siyang si Kristo na buhay uli pagkatapos ng 3 araw. Maybe that's better, no? Maybe we can start with the resurrection. Okay? Then you can also use multiple plot lines. Ang daming nangyayari at the same time. May paborito akong director, si Altman. He's not active anymore now, no? He would make films na sabay-sabay nangyayari yan. Hindi mo alam kung anong relasyon niya. And then finally, it would be tied towards the end. Para siyang ilog na iba-iba ang tributaries. Nagsalu-salubong. And then you get excited because, ay, alam ko ito. Nakita ko na siya kanina. And they go together. No? Okay? So you have the linear versus non-linear. My bias again, I like the non-linear kind of. Why? Because life is never linear, no? Even when you wake up in the morning, I don't think you're saying, I wake up now, maya-maya, I'm going to take my breakfast. Hindi eh. Minsan you remember your breakfast, you don't remember you're waking up. Or minsan you forget about the breakfast. You remember you're leaving your apartment. You get the point of storytelling. Next, please. Next, please.
Direct for a while,
Okay.
na-off yung PC po.
No problem. Let me just go on now. Is it fair to say na ang non-linear is the more natural way of telling a story? Di ba? Parang hugot ka ng hugot ng kwento. You don't really arrange them, na? In so many ways, no? So when you're narrating following the sequence of days, nagpo-progress ang kwento, no? Now, when you do that, you better make sure na nagpa-progress talaga siya, no? Hindi yung nagpapatong-patong lang ang kwento, no? Okay, well, we are... Maybe you could show at this point, Perlene. Pwede ba isingit natin yung, the films? Or are we back? Are you presenting? Okay, thank you for that. Okay. Now we're back to the narrative strategy. Paano ang pagkikwento, no? We're dealing with masks and voices. Sino ang nagsasalita? Are you conscious of that? Who is the author of the story? Minsan, it is what is called the presentational camera. Yung ang camera ang nagpipresent, no? Papasok siya. And then the camera steps aside at may pumapasok na tao na. Then you forget that the camera is still there, no? I think we always forget about that. That the thing that separates cinema from everything is that the events are unfolding through the eyes of the camera. Kaya importante ang images, no? That's why some jurors have a very strong bias for films that are very strong in images. Because if you have a cinema that is full of voices, nagsasalita, no? Gumawa ka na lang ng speech. The magic of cinema is in the images. Okay? So sometimes the mask can be a persona. Not a character, but it's the way the film is presented, the way the images are given out, no? So the voice of Wawa, for example, is very quiet. It is observing, no? It is looking. It is not judging. Okay. Uh, are you conscious of a moment in a film when a camera slowly grazes over the body of either a male or a female? Na dahan-dahan, and you begin to wonder, bakit kaya? No? Slowly, slowly. At walang dialogue. Okay? So what is the film asking from you? It depends kung anong nangyayari sa, is it a naked body or is it a dressed body or whatever, no? But that's the way of the cinema talking. It can be also a kind of tone na tinatago niya ang sumulat ng kwento. Okay? What is that? A certain sarcasm or a certain irony, okay? Or camp, usong-uso itong camp, nakikita natin to palagi sa fashion. What is camp? And people are discussing the meaning of camp. Ano ba talaga ang camp? Okay? Yung parang pinaglalaruan mo siya, but you have a fashionable way of playing with it. No? Okay. In the case of the documentary, the author is talking directly. Okay. Now, together with this narrative strategy, yung tinatawag na pananaw, yung gaze, no? Sinong nagkikwento? Alam mo ba kung ang nagkikwento is gay or straight? Or fluid? Siguro if I ask this question maybe 10 years ago, you will say, Sir, ang hirap. But now I'm sure you can easily discern this. Now, with all of this BL, boy love, I think kitang-kita nyo na kahit babae ang gumawa, na this is really a way of looking at gender. No? It's fascinating. No? It's a new development. Sino ba sa inyo mahilig sa aoy? Yaoi. Sino mahilig sa inyo? This is a story about boys who are attracted to each other but they don't engage in sex. Ano lang sila, parang they keep looking at each other, parang nanggigigil lang but nothing happens. That is the real. Kaya ang problema ng BL sa atin, ang BL sa Pilipinas, may sex kaagad, no? Ang BL in the Japanese way, I think you better watch this Netflix about the cooks in a particular cafe. Rukuhodo. Try looking for that. A friend of mine kept asking me, are they all gay? I said, that's not the fair question. So what are they? They're into each other. But they're not gay. They're not necessarily gay. Okay? So yeah, nagiging complicated ang because of the fluidity. No? I think you know the meaning of that. No? Yung fluidity. Alam na ito ng mga sociologists, anthropologists before that gender is really a construct. No? Ngayon, lalaki ka. Bukas, malay mo, iba naman ang feel mo. No? Maya-maya, iba naman. That's fluidity. Gumagalaw-galaw ka lang. Because the society is less judgmental about that. Okay? So in cinema, lumalabas yung ganyan mga mask. Okay? It can take the place of the author or writer or the camera assumes that. Kaya yung mga drone nyo, it says something about how you view reality. Bakit kailangan mag-drone shot? Do you ask yourself that? Kasi maganda lang. But if you're able to do it correctly, then it plays well. That's technology. Next, please. Later you can have question now. Okay. It's still about production. It's an articulation. It's good to know that there are films that are products of certain histories, 1930s, 1940s, 1950s. No? I was doing a research about um, all about Eve, a 1950s film. And hindi pala nila pwedeng gamitin ang salitang sex in the 50s. So they had to change that, no? Can you imagine that word could not be used at a particular juncture of cinematic history? Okay? Sa atin, for example, I don't know if the censorship has changed. In the 80s and 90s, you cannot show both breasts on screen. Pag isa, pwede. Why? I don't know. Again, in Japan, porn is illegal. It is a very strange ruling. So long as you don't show the pubic hair. You can have all the actions you want on screen, basta walang pubic hair. Kaya lang mangyayari, because the pubic hair is there where it matters, hindi mo rin makikita ang action kasi mabablur yun or pixelize, no? See how censorship can change, no? Or sometimes we are so against violence on screen. Or we like violence over sex. Ang sex hindi pwede, pero yung patayan pwede sa Pilipinas yan, di ba? Yung tumitilapon ng mga dugo, we like that. Okay lang yan. The MTRC would say, go. Pero pag nag-frontal na, no. Remember Schindler's List. Have you seen it? It's still available, no? Yung mga nakahubad na Jews na mga payat. The late Manuling Morato questions that because he found that obscene. How can you be turned on by very, very thin people na hubad? You will see the suffering, no, not the sexuality of it. Okay? So may industry standard, may ideology sa pagsushoot ng pelikula. Okay? Ano bang ideology? It's a political way of looking at things even when there are no things that you are looking at. Ginagawa mo sa utak mo. Next, please. Okay. Meron bang objective camera? Can the camera be objective? There's no definite answer. It depends on the filmmaker. Kaya nabuo itong tinatawag na direct cinema. Yung parang kung ano lang nakikita, yun na. But remember that cinema is always a product that undergoes editing, no? Kaya nga yung tinatawag nilang filmic reality, etong reality, andito ko sa bookstore. I cut a portion of that, of this reality, because this thing is moving. It's a flux, no? Now, that's my film, kung ano lang gusto ko. So there are terms like direct cinemas America or Kino Pravda in Russia, or sometimes the more common is cinema verite, okay? Realistic or real cinema. Some people say that Lino Broca is one of the more excellent doers of this kind of cinema. You know, of course, Broca, no? The national artist for film. Next, please. Okay. James Agee is noted for his photography on the hunger in America. And he was doing the photos of that. And he thought he could be objective about it. But the fact that you are there on site, nasa lugar, removes already the objectivity. Yun ang sinasabi ng mga tao. Kaya nabuo itong tinatawag na Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. One cannot observe anything without exchanging energy with it. Nice, no? I think I like it because you're filmmakers. Pag kinukunan nyo ang isang bagay, hindi pwedeng sabihin nyo na, no, sir, I'm just doing the camera. I'm using the camera. There's a gap between me and the reality because there's the camera as a mediator. No, because you're doing that, you're part of the uncertainty principle, which means that you're exchanging your energy with the camera and the camera with the reality. Kasama ka dun. Naantig ka. You're affected by it. That's why you would always tell, stop, cut. Ayaw mo na eh. Okay? Next, please. Balik dyan. Okay? So sa paggawa ng pelikula, you have all of the realities outside. And you're just doing the transformation from the pre-filmic, ano yan, yung reality sa labas. Okay? At ginagawa mo siyang construct. I think you understand the word construct when you're thinking of the world, no? When you're looking at the world, wala naman talagang mga pangalan ang bagay na yan. Pero when you look at when you're looking at your classroom and you say authority, ano ibig sabihin? My teacher, my estudyante. So when you say student teacher relationship, that's a construct. Tapos when you're looking at your life in the university in LaSalle and you say I learned a lot of values. Wala namang nakalagay sa paligid ng mundo mo na ito value, ito value, ito. That's a construct. Ginawa yan, no? So, you're also doing a construct from reality. Pag tinanggal mo na sa moving reality, gumagalaw yan. You transfer it onto your camera and you copy it and you put it on screen. Then you have framed the reality. That's your decision. And it entails a lot. Yung training mo, yung religion mo, yung biases mo, yung personality mo. Pasok na pasok doon. So hindi pwede sabihin na, sir, I'm a very objective filmmaker. I don't agree so. No? Pasok na pasok ka sa ginagawa mo. Whether you are conscious of it or not. No? Okay? So the idea is there is a flux. Gumagalaw. And you're capturing them. Parang hinuhuli mo siya. And therefore, may tinatawag na, wala dyan, hindi ko sinulat, artifice. Yung gawa-gawa. Next, please. Are you familiar? Maybe you're familiar with the Broadway play. Look at this. That's Gloria Swanson as Norma Desmond. What do you notice about the picture? You know the cuento, the story of this? Norma Desmond is an aging movie star from the silent film era. And may napadpad sa kanyang young journalist, good looking. She fell in love with a young man. At, in the end, pinatay niya. At hinuhuli na siya ng mga tao para siya mapasuko. They pretended na may shooting. Much copied itong eksenang ito. Andito yung salitang, I'm ready for my, yun ang sinasabi niya dyan towards the end. Anyone would like to make a guess? This is cinema for you. So bumababa siya sa hagdan. Then the music is being played. At inimbitan niya ang kanyang dating director, the real director, Cecil B. DeMille, na sinushoot siya. Pero actually, pasusukuin lang siya sa mga pulis. Then look at the guy behind her. So he's holding the camera, but it's not using the camera. Let's check the next scene. Now she says, I'm ready for my close-up. May tumalon sa aking kuting. I don't know if you noticed that I fidgeted. I'm ready for my close-up. Because the close-up makes the actor significant. Kinopya lahat yan ng mga then hinuli na siya ng mga police. But look at that. That's framing for you. Nobody will mind at all the man behind her because she is such a powerful actor. Cinematic shot. And slowly mawawala sila lahat at masusolo lang siya because the director is capturing the flux, the movement. Next, please. Okay, I'm using old films because they are excellent cinematography. This is Greta Garbo, if you're using the word magarbo now, yung magarbo, ang garbo mo naman, ang forma mo, that came from her because she was known to be the most beautiful woman during her. Mukha makikita niyo mamaya ang close-up niya. No? The story is Camille. Again, this is from a novel. And the novel, ang dami niyang pinanggalingan, pinuntahan. This is now Camille, but it's also known as the Lady of the Camellia, yung bulaklak. She's a prostitute, but she's also part of an opera. Okay, she is Violetta in the opera. So dami-dami niyang pinagmulan, libro, then opera, and now this film. Ang partner niya si Robert Taylor, who was known for being the great profile. Kasi ang profile niya was supposed to be perfect, no? Sa mga lalaki. But ang kapares niya also has the perfect profile. So dying na si Camille, she's a prostitute na dito kinopya natin ng mga kwento about the prostitute na fell in love with a young man na who belongs to a proper, decent, rich family. They went to the countryside. Habang wala ang lalaki, dumating ang ama at sabi niya, gusto ko magkaroon ng magandang kinabukasan ng anak ko, pero hindi siya magkakaroon ng magandang future if you marry him. Sabi niya, kaya kung gusto ko, iwanan mo siya. So pagbalik ni Robert Taylor ang character, wala na si Camille at umalis na at galit na galit siya. Hindi niya alam na pinagbigyan ni Camille ang kanyang tatay. And they see each other in a party, and in the party, sabi ng character ng lalaki, magkano ka ba talaga? At tinapunan siya ng pera. This is copied over and over again in melodrama. No? But nauna ang Camille. Let's have the next photo, still shot. There you are. Now the director has to decide. One is dying, kanino mo kang ipapakita towards the end. Both are equal in their character in their power as actors. Okay? Papakita mo ba siya? That's a decision. Ang umiyak. Or ipapakita mo na lang si Camille. Look at the decision towards the end. Nag-slide ang lalaki pababa, grieving. Hindi importante ang grief niya. Let's go to that picture. Ang importante, ang beauty ni Camille. That's what the film is all about. It's not even about grief. It's about the paradox of beauty. Ang power ng beauty. Ganda, no? That's a decision. That's a filmic decision of a flowing reality. So matagal yan. Then fade out, the end. Next, please. Okay. Ito hindi ito masyadong tinitingnan natin. Yung montage, walang problema. Ang montage yung sunod-sunod na images, no? Sunod-sunod. You're fan of that. But are you conscious of the mise en scène? Ayan, medyo mag-practice ng pag-pronounce because it's in French, no? Okay, let's go to the next slide. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng mise en scène? The theater people would know this more. When you block things on the stage, di ba? Na mag-i-end ang isang pelikula, mag-i-end ang isang act na ang nanay nakaupo, ang tatay nakatayo sa likod, nakatingin towards the stage left, at ang anak na babae nakahandusay sa sahig. The elder brother is holding the hand of the mother. Parang ang ganda-ganda ng eksena. That is called the mise en scène. You're not conscious of it, but good directors arrange the scenes in that way. Okay? Importante dito ang production design, ang paligid, ang art direction, ano ang kulay, no? May tanim ba o wala? May bintana ba o wala? Ang casting and placement on the stage. Placement on the stage is almost like the theatrical use of it, parang theater. But in mise en scène, you think of the screen more like a stage, no? Paano ba ginawa ang screenplay into the eksena? Anong sinasabi ng eksena? Sabi ng eksena, wala nang magawa ang nanay, namatay na ang kanyang mga anak, at naiwan na lang ang kanyang nag-iisang dalaga at ang kanyang bunsong lalaki. So yan ang eksena. Pero nilagay ang tatay na patay na, napapalayo sa eksena. Those are how you create the mise en scène. How are the actors situated, no? May dramatic impact ba ang set? Baka naman ang liwaliwanag ng lugar kaya hindi na naging madrama ang mga bagay, no? Next, please. We're almost ending. Look at that. This is from A Streetcar Named Desire. Again, from a play, from a theater piece to a play to a movie. This is Vivian Leigh as Blanche Dubois at ito yung nanliligaw sa kanya na matandang binata. Her only hope kasi sirang-sira ng buhay niya pero hindi sinasabi sa mga tao. And there are places right there sa may hagdan. Why is that powerful? Can anybody make now a very appropriate analysis for this? Tingnan niyo ang ginawa ng director, Elia Kazan, using the screenplay of Tennessee Williams. Saan sila? They're not standing up. They're seated. Okay? But they're seated where? At the foot of the stairs. Do you think they'll go up? Walang promise of them ascending the stairs, no? Both of them are at the bottom of things. Nasa baba lang sila. Hanggang dyan lang ang kanilang pag-ibig, no? It's not in a cafe. It's not in a bedroom. It's not in a garden. It's there. Not the place for real love to transpire, no? That's a very good mise en scène. Next, please. This is I was surprised meron pala itong remake sa TV. Inakapatid Anak. I think you're more familiar with the TV, maybe late, early 2000. These are the two great actors are you familiar with them? With much regret, the one standing, Lolita Rodriguez, died 3 years ago, and regret ito ng manunuri na we never gave her a tribute. No, we forgot to give her a tribute. They were, first of all, ang daming extra cinematic dito. No, si Broca directed this too. And the two actors are not friends, they are rivals. So it was very strange and mean for Broca to put them together, because whether you like it or not, they will be competing on screen, no? And the two have different acting style. Charito, the one na nakaupo, has bombastic, fiery, na very Italian kind of acting. Si Lolita has a very restrained, quiet, very quiet, no? Nabihira ang gumagawa sa Pilipino. This is the part na habang sa pelikula kasi, Lolita comes home, she's an adopted daughter, and she comes home because mamamatay ng tatay nila. Mas paborito siya over the real daughter. Away, at towards the end, nagkapatawaran, she's leaving for the US again, at iniwan niya kay Charito Soles ang lumang bahay. At nagkalapit sila sa may bintana. And it's really very, very theatrical. Static, hindi gumagalaw. The camera put them together at parang nag-pose ang dalawa sa bintana. It's a mise en scène. Look at the third photo, no? Nakahawak si Charito sa kamay ng kapatid niya, hinahawakan niya ganyan. Sa baba kasi the frames, lower frames, are the scene showing her acting, no? But we're dealing only with the upper part of the frame. Okay, that's a mise en scène. And people like that, that kind of equality on screen. Next, please. This is an old Jerry De Leon film, national artist for or it's called Sawa sa Lumang Simboryo. No? There you have. Very clear ang mise en scène. That's Anita Linda, very young Anita Linda. And Pempe Padilla, the grand lolo of Daniel Padilla. No? I think, yeah, grand uncle ata yan. And then you have Lilia Dizon in the middle, who is the mother of Christopher De Leon. Okay, so these are like dynasties in cinema. So very clearly you have the triumvirate, or the love triangle. No? And look at the pose. Very, very theatrical. Usong-uso yan ng panahon. Mga ganun. But it's beautiful, no? And the set is studio. It's not a real farm, no? It's a studio. Okay. Next, please. This is Insyang, one of the first Filipino films that made an impact in the Cannes Film Festival in France. No? When the critics saw Hilda Coronel, the younger girl, there, sabi nila, kay Lino Broca, I think she would be a very, very good actress because the setting is a slum. Oh, this is not Insyang. Sorry about that. No, this is Hello Soldier. No, but when she acted in Insyang, the critics were saying that, alam nyo, she would be a better actress if she lives in the slum. And sabi ni Lino Broca, she was born in the slum of Pasay. No, she's an American, Filipino American. Then that's Anita Linda again. No? It's a story almost inspired by Madame Butterfly. It's a story about a woman na nabuntis ng Amerikano na bibisita ang nanay, bibisita ang Amerikano. Hindi niya alam kung bakit, no? But kukunin na ng tatay na American si Hilda, ang character ni Hilda Coronel. Tapos that's the eksena na nang darating ng Amerikano, nalasing si Anita Linda, character ni Anita Linda. So sabi ni Hilda, paano ito? Paano kaharap? So they had to hide her in the room. Pero in the process, nung nag-uusap na pagdating ng tatay, may asawa na pala. Pero at the beginning, pinapakita ang room ni Hilda Coronel na punong-puno ng pictures ng America because she was dreaming of life in America. And yun na nga, while Hilda's character was talking with the American father, nagising ang lasing and she came out and in a very dramatic scene, made a scene, no? And she had a beautiful line there when she said, kahit pala mga Diyos tumatanda rin. She was looking at the handsome American soldier na minahal niya, ngayon matanda na, malaki na ang tiyan. Ang ending niyan is beautiful, no? Because at the end, tapos yun, nagkahiyaan, lumayas ang mag-asawang Amerikano. Pag the next scene is nagising si Anita Linda, ang character niya, wala nang tao sa bahay. So nakakaiyak, iniwan na siya. Then she goes down, and as she comes down the stairs, tumingin siya sa malayo, and 3 emotional expressions changed until finally ngumiti siya because the camera went to the direction of what she was looking at. Hilda Coronel did not go with the father, but decided to stay with her mom. 2 years before Anita Linda died, I interviewed her because we had a project called Living Voices. We interviewed old actresses para ma-preserve ang kanilang mga boses. Kami manunuri. No? And ako nakabunot ng pangalan niya. And I remember I had a big book with me na may questions, and sabi niya sa akin, Tito, don't tell me you're going to read from your notebook. Speaks very good English. Sabi ko naman, I could not answer. Sabi niya, you don't need that. So tinanggal ko, ninervyos. Siyempre ako, tinanggal ko na yung notebook. Then that eksena, she reenacted for me, for us, habang there was a camera. Sabi sa kanya ni Lino Broca, didilim na Alice, ang tunay na pangalan niya, Alicia Lake, si South American. Didilim na Alice, I want this to be one take lang. Kasi wala na, madilim na. So one take lang. Gusto ko lang pakita mo sa mga tao na bababa ka, hindi mo alam kung umalis na yung anak. Pangalawa, may iyak ka kasi wala ka ng kasama. Pangatlo, makikita mo siya sa malayo kaya matutuwa ka na magkasama na ang tuwa, lungkot at pagkabigla. So she did that during the interview. And I wasn't looking at her because baka ako maiyak. Ang problema, yung director namin was another manunuri, si Gigi Alfonso was looking, and I was looking at her because she was already in tears because she was performing right in front of us. That's cinema. All it takes is a space for a person to act out a reality, and the camera is present, and that's cinema. Next, please. This is from Karnal ni Marilu Diaz Abaya. Look at that. Just by that shot, kahit tumagal siya ng 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, may kwento siya. That's a mise-en-scène. Because of the color, because of the set, because of the action. Next, please. Anong sinabi ng sikat na director na Tarkovsky? Relating a person to the whole world. That is the meaning of cinema. Simple lang pala, mga filmmakers na nakikinig. You just have to think of a person and how the person is related to the world. Yan ang kahulugan ng pelikula. Then, next. Next. Maraming salamat po. Thank you very much. Meron tayong, do we have time for one film, Berlin? Isa na lang siguro, ano? It's 3:30. Tama ba ako?
Okay lang po, sir. Short films lang naman po yan.
Sige. We'll try it lang. We'll show short films and then you can react from there. No, ask questions about it. Actually, may questions ako, but I'll drop the questions para mas freewheeling ang ano natin. Did you give them the questions? Walang chance, ano?
Everyone has heard stories of friendships, but no one has heard a story quite like this one. Emily and Sam didn't know each other that well, but Emily made sure to express her feelings.
Yo, are you okay? Do you need any help? Is there someone I can call? How badly are you hurt? You're bored.
Emily was embarrassed, but she was mostly disappointed that she saw Sam's true colors since he didn't help her up. But there was much more than she thought.
At this point, we will be having an open forum where we will be receiving questions from our participants, and you can click the raise hand button, guys, or for any questions or clarifications, or you can also type in the chat box, or you may also want to share your thoughts on the film. I chatted the guide questions that was given by Cynthia.
Did you notice about the film? It doesn't need a subtitle, no? It's in a different language. That's why I chose it. Anyone has a question? If you look at the film, it's the short film. There's actually a statement at the end about don't judge others because you don't know what situations they are in, etc. No, but the film is really like a fairy tale in the structure. Um, Jessica Amakna says the director communicates with the audience, need no dialogue. Correct, Jessica. No. There's almost a straight line between the filmmaker and the people watching. But look at the structure, no? As a critic or as a reviewer, no? There are three times the young boy enters the school, very much like the stories in fairy tales. Tatlo palagi yan eh. Tatlong magkakapatid, lalaki, babae, pupunta muna ang isa, he will fail, the second will follow, the third will succeed. In this case, tatlo ang pang-apat the realization. Okay? Which means that we're using very universal forms and we're not even conscious about it. Repetition. There's a question from Jessica. Repetition is a strategy in a narrative, no, to drive home the point. And why three? Because two doesn't make it. Three is the perfect number, as a philosopher would always say. That the pyramid has power. No, triangle is perfect. Anyone else?
Meron po ba?
Okay.
Meron po ba kayong mga questions? You can type it po in the chat box or you can click the raise hand button. Anyone po from our participants? We have
So in the animals as the film appeals to emotions. Yeah. As a series of films, actually, ang problema lang, let me put it this way, is towards the end, may ano siya, may lesson siyang sinusulat eh. That for me is unnecessary, no? You let the message speak for itself, no? Wag nang mag-sermon towards the end. But maybe it's part of I don't know, an advocacy cinema, whatever. No? Anyone? The empathy, Sisa is saying the empathy is there. O nga, ang hirap habulin yung empathy, no? I don't know where it comes from, but I think it's really a sincerity on your part. Yeah, which brings me, yeah, I would answer the question. What makes a short film interesting? I think a filmmaker who is not conscious of the lessons to be taught will always make a good film. Dapat wala kayong critical eye. Yan ang contradiction eh. Because if you're a film student, you study all those theories about cinema, but then your teacher will tell you, drop all your knowledge about theories and just do a film. Okay. What makes a short film interesting is that it can touch you, given how brief the interlude or the experience can be. It touches you immediately. No. Kaya may yung kanyang brevity is very important. Dapat may masabi ka kaagad. That's why the bad short films are those that are trying to introduce the phenomenon. Na madahan-dahan na pag-introduce ng phenomenon. Bibihira ang short unless it has a reason for that. Yung nagpapan muna, pinapakita ang mga sa paligid. No. You have to jump into the whatever is the crucial action. Sabi ko nga, after 1 minute, pag walang sinasabi, ang hirap eh. Because I think you think of it also in terms of writing, no? If you're writing a 1-page essay, you do not have an introduction. You only have an introduction if you have a 10-page or a 5-page essay. Kung 5-page, dapat introduction should be what? A short paragraph. If you have a 10-page, then maybe you can have a 2 or 3 paragraph. The same with the short film. There's no space for introducing the phenomenon. You get into it in the middle of it. No? So we give example of things that are interesting. No? In the case of the last, it's a repetition series of 3 times. No? Sa pangalawa, you're anticipating ng pangatlo. Okay? Then sa pagtapos na yung pangatlo, then you know parang something, what will happen now, no? The pang-apat is the resolution or whatever it is, seeking of forgiveness, no? And even the entrance to the school, if you notice, hindi pare-pareho, if you examine it, no? Habang papalapit siya. Now, a short film is a very good method of studying cinema in full because you can go back and forth. Look, I've been watching Wawa for a long time that I can tell you step by step kung ano yung mga shots niya, no? That is how you do the analysis. This is how you critique a film, no? By the way, there's a big difference between a film criticism and a film review. A film review is for the audience, okay? A film criticism is for a particular sector, the academe, or for a group of critics, or for a group of scholars. That's why when you do criticism, may mga citations ka, misa, no? By the way, when this is, well, you're not asking the question, no? When we say critique a film, it doesn't mean you have to look for the bad things in the film, no? Hindi ganon, no? When you're asked to critique a film, you're simply analyzing the thing and you look for the good and the bad. Don't hit for the bad. Yung iba kasi hinahanapan kaagad ng mali, no? I think that doesn't, it creates a different way of reading a film. No? Kaya tuloy may lumang perspective about uh, critics as mataray or no, I don't agree with that. No, a mataray na filmmaker is no, a mataray na film critic is not a good critic, no, para sa akin. Nagpapapel yan. Dapat marunong ka magbiyak-biyak ng eksena. And I think the duty of the critic is to guide the audience and the readers and a particular sector how to go through a film, no, from your side, because the critic can watch the film over and over, while ang nanonood kayo, hindi naman kayo manonood ng 3 times sa pelikula, di ba, when you're criticizing it, when you're watching it as a viewer. You watch it and you like it, no, and maybe you do a second screening, but you don't watch it 10 times to write about it. The critic does that. That's why in our group, we can discuss to death a film para mapili namin kung ano ang magaling, no? Paulit-ulit yan. One last question daw.
So we're opening the floor to probably 1 or 2 last questions. Kung may gusto ko kayo itanong kay Sir Tito, you may. And si Saidi.
Saan ba si Saidi? Yan.
Hi.
Natin.
Hello,
Okay.
sir.
Hello, hi.
Since you studied culture and arts sa Japan, sir, about filming, meron po akong nakita dati na about live action sa Attack on Titans, which the artist depressed, then nagpakamatay because there are so many criticism from other viewers na hindi bagay sa kanya hindi bagay sa kanya yung character. So is there concern lang ako, is there anything na mga trainings sa mga Japanese na if meron silang ma-encounter na ganong situation, is ma-control nila, because I think isa sa mga culture din nila is mga ganon or mga kaugalian nila na mag-suicide.
Let me clarify that. Yeah. Interesting but sensitive subject matter also, no? Well, first of all, let me clarify. I did not study filmmaking in Japan. No? I'm an anthropologist, and when I came back and I joined the Japanese Studies program in Ateneo de Manila, yun na nga pumasok na yun. I was telling the story about one day our director saying, please make use of the films that we have in order to teach culture, Japanese culture, instead of, the usual. I think you study Japanese culture and society. The tendency is to read books, okay, and to study the cultural aspects. Marami yan. You study the language, yung politeness, you study literature, you study yung mga literary writings, yung haiku, for example. You study ikebana, you study the theater forms, kabuki, no, bunraku, etc., etc. Pero binago namin. We asked the students to watch a Japanese film, and we proceeded from there, no, to study their culture. Regarding suicide, no, it's difficult to answer. No, I don't think the Japanese really favor suicide. No, I think it's not that. But I think what is apparent in their culture is that hindi stigmatized, hindi masama ang tingin nila sa nagsusuicide. No, it's a recovering of an honor. No, because ang tawag sa kanila is it's a shame culture. No, dapat honorable palagi ang tao. Kaya nga, for example, let me get maybe a purer example. When the Kobe earthquake happened at maraming namatay, people were saying the city wasn't ready for it. And the mayor took it personally and he committed suicide, no? Not because he was weak, but because he wanted to show them that he was at fault. I always tell this to call this to the audience na kung ang mga politiko natin nasa Japan, they will always be committing say, suicide, no? To regain their honor. Malakas ang sense of honor ng Hapon. And one way to regain it, pag todo-todo ng bagsak, is suicide. No? I think it's the only culture where suicide is part of a ritual. No? I think you know that sa mga samurai, yung tinatawag nilang seppuku. No? It's a ritual disembowelment. Hindi siya yung magpapakamatay ka lang. There's a ritual before that. You've got to have a white cloth behind you. You've got to have a second. Yung assistant mo na puputol ng ulo mo. And you should have the strength if you're a samurai, no? Pero hindi na yan, wala na yan. Wala nang bushido eh. Yung warrior culture. You should have the strength to signal yung assistant mo na you ready ka na naputulin yung ulo mo. And the last modern seppuku is a writer, si Mishima Yukio, which happened in the 70s. No? Now, in the case of that filmmaker actor Ben who was shamed, I think there are other reasons than regaining honor. This could also be a kind of weakness in his personality because he's a creative person and creative people are highly sensitive wherever they are, kahit sa Pilipinas, no. Pero ang advantage niya lang being Japanese is that hindi siya titingnan na negative, no. Hindi siya sa ating kasi Catholic titingnan na hindi yan pwedeng ilibing sa Catholic cemetery. Exactly, that's the point. Hindi yan pupunta sa purgatorio, impyerno kaagad. And we have all of those sanctions, no? They don't have that. So yun lang pagkakaiba. I hope I answered your question, Saidi. No?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you also.
Okay, thank you so much to our participants for actively asking questions and also to our dear speaker. To show you our sincere gratitude, let's call on Earl Hendricks Reyes to present the certificate of appreciation to our dear speaker.
Thank you so much, Perlin. Sir Tito, we are very happy no to have had you dito sa FDCP workshops. And thank you so much for presenting to you our virtual certificate. So let me just read. The certificate of appreciation is presented to Mr. Tito Genova Valiente as the research speaker of the Film Talks, the FDCP Film Talks, Film Appreciation Talk, Paano ba Manood ng Pelikula? Signed, co-festival director of Cine Animo, Earl Hendricks Reyes, co-director of Music Animo, Rian Krishna Makna, co-director of Sulat Nimo, Syra Apple Narit, at festival director ng ANIA Lasal Harvest of the Arts Festival, Mr. Ted Nugent F. Takpan. Thank you so much for rendering your time and acknowledging din pala ang presence ngayon ng chairperson at CEO ng FDCP, Chair Lisa. Hello.
Hi everyone. Good
Thank you
afternoon.
so
Well,
much,
good morning
Trix.
here from Cannes.
Ayan.
Hello po, Chair Lisa.
Hello po. Ayun po. Thank you so much, Sir Tito.
Thank you. Hi, Lisa. Hi,
Hi,
thanks.
sir.
Ito,
How are you?
still secluded in Bicol.
I know. When
My
are you gonna come out?
I think this week. We have the first face-to-face meeting ng Manood. My
We
goodness.
miss you. We miss you. I remember our times in Busan. Hi everyone. I'm sorry, I don't mean to exclude you in the conversation, but
Yeah.
Sir Tito and
We
I
haven't seen each other for a
travel.
long time. Okay, thanks, Cinema, Cine Animo. Okay, thanks so
Ayan.
much.
At this point in time, no, of course, andito rin si Chair Lisa. We would really love to hear from her too. She's actually live sa Cannes I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
Ayan.
oo.
So
At, hin-
maybe,
at
Sir
hindi
Tito,
man lang, hindi man lang tayo na-imbita Earl, di ba?
oo nga, Sir Tito eh.
Siningit talaga. No?
Oo nga, we're still stuck in the Philippines.
I know.
Sige,
Ito
sige.
na yon. Maybe as you participate in more film talks and mga educational activities natin, you can make your short film and then it will be premiered here in Cannes and then we will all go to Cannes to support your film. So it's a goal for a lot of our participants here. But siguro first of all, I don't know if Mr. Takan, the festival director of Cine Animas here. Of course, Earl, it's nice to meet you. Online at least. Sorry, I wasn't able, hindi pa talaga ako actually nakakapunta sa Osamis City.
Osamis?
So,
Ako
isa yan sa
rin.
mga nasa bucket list ko. Ayan, sir, umpisahan muna natin sa Osamis. Bago mag-can. Yes, but I am very very much aware sa mga filmmakers natin. Some of them I met when nagpunta sila sa Lasal Binil. There was a talk there before and there were participants and filmmakers from Lasal in Osamis and I was able to meet them in person. And of course for our participants today, you were very lucky kasi you were able to participate in the FTCP Film Talks featuring, two of our top mentors and stalwarts and champions of regional cinema. Of course, film critic, educator, writer, and public anthropologist, Mr. Tito Genova Valiente. Ano naman, palakpakan naman natin siya. Napakagandang discussion. Kahit ako, no, I was able to just catch a little bit, but ang dami talagang coming from a person that studies human experience and film representing human experience. It's so important for us to understand, how does a film affect us, in this way, in this manner. So I hope that we can have more of this. And thank you, Cine Animo, for partnering with the FTCP for the FTCP Film Talks. I mean, it just goes to show how education is very, very important in molding and nurturing your future filmmakers. And you can be rest assured that FTCP is behind you for the many years that we've been partnering together, sa mga previous editions ng Cine Animo Film Festival. I look forward to more films coming from Osamis City, especially now that we have a lot of programs that are really putting short films in the forefront. Hindi na lang siya side event, hindi na lang siya parang side competition. There are really platforms now that puts value to the importance of creating short films. And I know na marami sa mga regional film festivals natin, ito yung ginagamit nilang platform, ito yung ginagamit nilang vehicle para makagawa ng mga pelikula. And with FCP's goal to actually expand our program for shorts and to elevate the quality of short films that we have in the country. I look forward to more filmmakers coming from Osamis and coming from your region to participate in our programs kasi napaka-importante na magamit nyo yung mga ganitong klaseng initiatives and opportunities para you can challenge yourselves to be better filmmakers. So kanina, you also had Mr. Elbert Banyares that gave us a glimpse of regional filmmaking, the status quo and its perspectives. So if you understand the big picture, you'll have a better grasp of where you fit as a filmmaker or creative, especially now that regional cinema is really becoming not just, it's not on the sidelines anymore, hindi na siya nasa peripherals. A lot of our films, our regional films, have participated in the biggest film festivals. Last year, Dancing the Tides, directed by Seth Suarez, participated in the La Fabrique Lab here in Cannes, and it started as a short film. So it's very inspiring to see more and more regional filmmakers creating their own narratives, coming from your own regions, very indigenous, very local sa inyo, and you realize that you don't need to go to Manila in order for you to get the same opportunities as, our Manila-based filmmakers. There are bridges, there are links so that you can also have access to these opportunities. And I hope that you take advantage of that kasi marami siya. And you can take inspiration sa mga regional filmmakers natin na ganun na yung ginagawa. I mean, Arden Rod Condes, he's going back to his roots, his roots from Antique, yung mga pelikula niya ngayon. We're supporting some of his films right now, and it's just so humbling and nakakatuwa na it's really adding to this slate of films na lumalabas sa atin ngayon na hindi lang stories about what's happening, what's happening in Manila, pero yung mga untold stories of the 7,641 islands in the Philippines are now finding its place to be told to the world. Not just our local not just our domestic audiences, not just the audiences from the regions, but to the world. So I hope that sa mga susunod niyo pang film talks at sa mga susunod niyo pang pagpa-participate ng mga workshops, isa puso niyo at isa buhay niyo lahat ng mga natututunan ninyo. At sa mga susunod ninyong pelikula, I'm sure that you're going to see it in a different lens. You're going to approach filmmaking in a different perspective, and you will be part of this new generation of filmmakers na binibigyan ng importansya yung quality, binibigyan ng importansya yung preparation, binibigyan ng importansya yung respeto sa bawat aspeto ng film. So, para pag dumating na sa point na i-criticize na ni Sir Tito at i-critic na, i-critic na yung film, at least alam natin na makikita niya yung mga language, yung mga theories na in-integrate ninyo sa mga projects niyo at sa mga films niyo. So I look forward to your films in the future, and I hope Cine Animo don't stop sa pagiging platform at pagiging catalyst para mag-engganyo pa at mag-encourage ng mas maraming filmmakers from your region to make their films. With that, have a great day, guys. Mabuhay!
Thank you so much, Chair Liza.
Thank you so much po, Chair Liza Dino, for your inspiring message and also for supporting Cine Animo 6. But before we proceed to the next part of our program, may we ask everyone to turn on their cameras for the photo op while Chair Liza and Sir Tito is still in the meet.
Okay, I will be taking the photo. Ayan, requesting everyone to please turn on their cameras, no? Ayan. Sige. Taking the photo now. And 3, 2, 1, smile. Again. 3, 2, 1, smile. Ayan. Thank you so much po.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, sir. Bye, everyone.
Bye, Lisa. Bye.
Mayor and Pastor, thank you for really gracing our event.
Thanks.
Pleasure is ours.
Okay. Wait. May I request everyone to access the QR code that is flashed in the screen, and we will also be sending a link for our evaluations form. This can help us in making Cine Animo a better platform in the future. The link is also sent in the chat box, so you can all access. Okay. Again, thank you to our speaker, Mr. Tito Valiente, for sharing your time and expertise to our film enthusiasts. And to everyone who attended this workshop, they seem completely absorbed by your discussion. It is a tremendous honor for us to have you as our speaker today. We would not have been able to pull off a fantastic workshop without your support. We're only able to make our program a success due to your willingness to give your time for us. And there is so much more to learn from your knowledge and experience. Also, we would like to thank our festival director, Mr. Ted Nugent Pacman, to the co-director of City Animal, Mr. Earl Hendricks Reyes, and the rest of the team, and of course, our dearest participants from regions 9 to 10, and from all over the country, Lasallian students, thank you for participating. We would also like to thank our sponsors, McDonald's Zamis, our minor sponsors, Charcoal Grill, Food Corner, and Nature Spring. Also to the Lasallian Mission Unit, Student Activity Center, and the Arts and Culture Center for helping us make this all possible. Thank you so much. Again, this is Berlin Barrientos. Hi, ang Pelikulang Pilipino.
Hail, hail, alma mater, hail to De La Salle. We'll hold the banner high and bright, a shield of green and white. We'll fight to keep your glory bright, and never shall we fail. Hail to thee, our alma mater, hail, hail, hail. Hail, hail, alma mater, hail to De La Salle. We'll hold your banner high and bright, the shield of green and white. We'll fight to keep your glory bright, and never shall we fail. Hail to thee, our alma mater, hail, hail, hail. Hail to thee, our alma mater, hail, hail, hail.
Thank you.